infiltrated its security. Their anti-mutant defense arrays will be down by the time we arrive.
Hey guys, it's your girl Lady Shay, aka geekxxchic, and I'm here with another reaction to The Gifted. We're now on episode 9 of the second season, which is called Game Changer. So last week was not quite as action-packed as some of the previous episodes, but we got a lot of character development and some pretty huge moments for one of our characters, namely Lorna. But the big takeaways we got from that episode is that we discovered that Dr. Garber, who is the scientist who worked along with Reed's father, is in the middle of developing a serum that could potentially permanently suppress the X gene in willing mutants who want to get rid of their X gene. And so Lauren looked like she was having a bit of a dilemma over whether or not she agreed with her DNA being used for something like this. And we also discovered that Dr. Garber's brother was the founder of the Purifiers. So that just makes for a whole lot of murky waters where she's concerned. And I still have my doubts about the authenticity or the altruistic nature of what she's doing at that university. Back with the Underground, we saw that John and Clarice are butting heads because they still disagree on how to approach things with the Underground going forward. Clarice feels like John's on a suicide mission because he's not really thinking through a lot of his actions, and she's not completely wrong. However, John has a point in the sense of they got to figure out what their next steps are, and doing nothing is just about as bad as going headlong into what he's doing. So hopefully those two are going to figure out some way to find common ground in this episode. And then, of course, Rebecca got away last episode, but she was caught up with by John and Clarice, and they found out about the fact that there was a research that was part of the heist outside of the money that was taken by Reva and the rest of the group. So they got a little bit of info, but then Rebecca was caught. We see Fade is following her, and she, I guess, wasn't able to pick up on him because she can't see him. And he caught her. He finally caught her, and we know he's gonna bring her back to Reva. And then, of course, we had all the drama with Lorna and Marcos because Lorna, now she's seeing the cracks and the rot underneath, and she's not happy there anymore. And more importantly, she didn't think it was safe for Dawn to stay there. So she ended up having Dawn go live with her aunt the way that she was once raised as well. And then we saw the emergence of what we feel like might be a new chapter for Lorna as Polaris. She took her daddy's gift and reshaped it into something that's her own. So without further ado, let's get into this episode and we will chat about it later. Okay? Boop. That's the driest looking pancake I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wow. What is the occasion?
Oh my god, the creepy portraits in the background.
I thought it would be nice to have breakfast as a family.
This is a setup.
Whatever. You guys are acting weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're so turning her in. Oh, can you look out the window more? Like, you guys are terrible at this.
You called them. You called them, didn't you?
Cause you crazy, girl.
Away from the door. I'm sorry we had to do this, but you nearly killed your teacher.
See, I knew this chick was crazy from day dot. There it is. There it is. So if people don't live in fear of Becky, she don't like them. What is this? And I love it already. No. No help for you, crazy Becky.
What are you doing to her?
Spin, bitch. I like it.
Us, you know.
And she murdered people.
She's not crazy.
Andy, I'm sorry.
What? Exactly what is the definition of crazy in your book?
She's trying to find one that'll suppress it in everyone, whether they like it or not.
Yep.
Oh, that's not possible.
Really?
Lauren had a problem.
We're not gonna listen to Lauren now? Okay.
He must have misunderstood.
I didn't
No.
misunderstand.
She ain't stupid.
Stop.
You heard Helen talk about wanting peace. How upset she was about what's going on between the mutants and...
Tell her about her brother.
Her brother helped found the Purifiers.
Thank you. Oh, poor Marcos. You done dirty, friend. Dirty.
Just keep her alive.
Damn, that's right.
She won't stop screaming.
Then,
Exactly.
let her scream.
Mute button. That easy. Maybe we should get the screaming to the people in that room. She can listen to that. Oh, someone had time to do her hair.
Hey.
It's not having a baby thing gave her nothing but time.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just putting some things away.
On the other hand, Andy needs to wash his hair.
I have to believe that it's no accident that I crossed paths with your family again.
Oh, really?
We can finally finish the work your father started.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for worldwide suppression, girl. And y'all just trust in the food she's serving? Mm-mm.
We can learn to not just block the gene,
But kill
but
it.
turn it off entirely.
See? Your daughter wasn't lying. Which y'all should have known already.
I really want to see the whole process. It's important to me.
They really can't have visitors. Samples
Flirt.
contaminated.
Come on, girl. Use those gifts God gave you.
Freedom. Helping millions of people.
There you go. That's it. That's the key.
I guess that's fair.
Okay, since when would a bunch of angry mutants need a reason to attack something? I have no idea.
Okay, about the angry mutants, John.
Or I'll show you what an angry mutant looks like.
You're not helping the case.
You control the collars in the prisons?
Interesting.
Which prisons?
All of them.
All of them.
Yes! Reva's letting them all out!
Now, we're about patriotism.
Oh,
I mean, are we proud of our species? Yes.
They're in DC. I'm trying to pinpoint them.
I need you to do more than try. Get the location. Send me to handle it. Whoever this is knows too much already. I want them
your
gone.
location. That was the best Wendy Williams tea sip.
Better hurry. Gotta get that table.
Oh, look at you, girl! I didn't know you could do them all disc-like. Okay, Laura. But wait, you didn't do anything about the one in the...
Why don't you go enjoy your lonely noble crusade while I fix the mess that you made?
John, you just can't stop screwing up, bro.
She spent the last year in a dark room getting drugged and tortured. I don't know what you expected.
Maybe not mass murder.
I know you'll do the right thing.
Oh, Andrew, she's playing chess, bruh, and you have got that checkerboard. God, every time I think Andrew can't possibly be more annoying.
I tried to tell her that you lost control and you didn't mean to.
Didn't mean to?
There you go,
Of course
dummy.
I meant to.
Yeah.
And as for Reva, she made it pretty clear she... Then we move in.
Please,
How is there no security?
We can run.
Thank you. You know why, Andrew? Because you don't listen. Okay. I mean, I'm glad she gone, but I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you're the one who did it.
Rebecca,
Oh no, there's no Rebecca. Crazy Becky gone,
she's
boo.
not breathing.
No, she ain't.
Somebody help!
No.
Who do you think we're fighting for? John? You ever think about that? If you bring up the X-Men right now, so help me God, I'll punch you in the mouth. Look, John.
Marco is fed.
Someone's here. Who?
Fade. Things have been going so great for you since you left your family, Andrew. Nothing but good decision after another.
Ever made me like Rebecca?
Woo! Andrew, the manipulation from the women around you is next level.
They did to her.
When do we leave?
You are so gullible. Okay, she's rocking the headband now. It is.
I'm rescuing the human race.
With scientific genocide?
Purifier.
God, what kind of God would curse their family with a son like Noah? Or Andrew?
The X gene is not a curse.
See?
I'm sorry, but your daughter should have never been born.
Haha, I told you.
Where Otto failed.
Trust this
We can
witch.
save future generations from this curse.
Take out Norm.
It belongs to the world now, Lauren.
Take out Norm.
You want to see a curse?
Yup. Plug your ears. Yeah, see? You've been wanting to go beast mode for a minute.
Rebecca forced Andrew to decide who he loved, and he chose us. He sacrificed for us.
He only knew her for like a week. Marcos, you know, you can blow that truck up, dude. It's for real. They've got guns. What is this in aid of?
Go! Get out of here!
This is so stupid. Oh, gross. Oh, God. What kind of bodily fluids are those? Oh, look at all of these things. These climaxes at once. Oh, hey, her again. We was here since season 1. What can she do? Oh, come on. Oh, damn. You can't hold on forever, John. What the hell? Y'all, if you kill John on this show, I'm not gonna forgive you. How dare you touch his golden tresses, you bastard!
Gotcha.
Oh, you're gonna regret that. You are gonna regret that, you bald son of a... Woosa. Woosa. Well, guys, that was episode 9 of The Gifted, which was called Game Changer. And yes, the game has been changed. The tables, I wouldn't say they've been turned, but they've definitely been leveled out to a degree. Wow, a lot went down in this episode. We finally saw the higher level of the fruition of Reva's plan. The hit on the bank, of course, was just part of it, but we got to see some of the big... I still feel like there's more to this plan yet. I'm not just talking about the mutant homeland. I'm talking about, like, I feel like there's more steps to be taken here, but yeah, that was... It got... You could feel it. The music was rising. The tension was coming up at the end there. We knew some stuff was gonna go down. Whew, so here we are. All right, well, let's, I guess, start with the Struckers. Because their storyline was kind of the most pivotal part of this episode. I'm glad that Lauren kind of saw, well, I shouldn't say I'm glad. I mean, I mentioned in the last episode review that they brought up a really big ethical issue. Now, if Dr. Garber had been genuine, which I knew she wasn't, but if she'd actually been authentic, I understand what she was saying in the sense of, yeah, there are mutants like that girl they showed who is with the electrical charges. They have powers that they can't turn off. And I didn't think of it until after I did my review last week that Rogue is a good example of that as well. Rogue's powers are always on, although she does have a little bit of relief in that at least her powers are only in effect if she touches somebody skin-to-skin contact. Skin-to-skin can be easily, you know, hindered if she puts, as we saw, she'd always wear clothing from head to toe, with the exception of, like, you know, her head was pretty much the only thing that was exposed. But still, for a long time, Rogue thought her powers were a curse. And in the comics, it's a little different than what we've seen in the movie versions of Rogue, which have disappointed me greatly. But in the comics, we saw that Rogue really did struggle off and on with whether or not her powers were a blessing, because she couldn't, even though it wasn't something, like I said, that she couldn't live her life, so to speak, but she wanted more. She wanted to be able to have a relationship with someone. She wanted to be able to maybe have kids or a family. Those things were not going to be possible with her unless she could find someone who could withstand her powers, which she didn't know if that was ever going to be the case. So you saw that she struggled a lot in her life about whether or not her powers were something she wanted to keep. And X3, of course, like I said, the movie that shall not be named, they handled it terribly in my opinion. But I know in one of the strains of the comics, Rogue actually, there was, I think it was like aliens from another dimension or something like that came to Earth. And one of them actually had the ability to take Rogue's powers away. So she actually said, yeah, take them because I don't want them anymore. And so she, yeah, in that rendition of the comics, Rogue actually gave up her powers and she was happy. And I have no doubt that there probably are mutants in this world of The Gifted where they have gifts that they don't want. Where we saw with this poor young boy, his powers unfortunately were dangerous to everyone around him. He couldn't be around the people that he loved without risks of hurting them. So it's understandable that some people may want to have a permanent suppression. It's just too dangerous to have that out there. It's just too dangerous for that knowledge and that power to be in the world, especially in a world where a good chunk of the humans feel like it's automatically a curse. And as soon as I heard that word, that's when I knew that she wasn't for real. Like, don't throw that word around, because that is at a very, it's a heavy, powerful word. And the fact that she chose that rather than saying it was like something that held them back or or their abilities could be viewed as a disability. But the fact that she used the word curse, and again, like I said, the fact that her brother, there's no way, that kind of stuff never happens to just one family member. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they were raised in the same household. They were raised with the same small-minded behavior. I'm like, no. She's just fighting her battle on a different front. Her brother chose to be the confrontational side of things with creating this hate group. She decided to go with something that was a little more sinister and try to basically attack from within the belly of the beast. So anyways, in this particular case, I'm glad that Lauren realized that this just it's too dangerous. She's been in the world enough to understand that this wasn't just some puritanical thing. She made the right choice. She made the right call. It bothered me so much that her parents didn't believe her right off the bat. Like, nothing makes me angrier than when I see shows with, you know, parents with kids or teenagers, and the kid tells them something and the parents go, are you sure? Oh, maybe you just misunderstood. Like, are you? I don't know. Like, what? You've known Lauren since the day she was born. You've known this woman for 2 seconds. I mean, I guess in Reed's case, he knew her as a child, but really? Lauren, your daughter, who for all intents and purposes has pretty much been a golden child her whole life, has been trustworthy up at this point. The only real big secret she ever kept from you was the fact that she was a mutant, for very good reasons that she explained earlier this season, since her father was basically a mutant hunter. Why would you not believe your daughter over some woman you've known for 48 hours? What, you believed her because she made you waffles? Like, come on, Reed. But I'm glad she came up with, I love that little thing where she threw the little thin disc of her powers to keep the door open. That was so cool. I really like that. See, I wish the show would do more of that with Lauren, because I get the feeling that she actually is very smart and she can be very cunning and clever, but we don't get to see a lot of that with her. We kind of either see her whinging about Andy or trying to get her parents to like settle down, and I think it's just a waste of her character. Because, you know, Andy's kind of gotten all the meteor stuff. And maybe it's because he's with the angstier group, but I just think it's just a loss on the show's part, because I think the actress could potentially pull it off. But also, I just think as Lauren's character deserves a little bit more meat. Because as it stands, she kind of just sits... I mean, there's more this season for sure than we got in season 1, but I don't want her to just be support for the other half of Fenris. You know, I want to see more of that from her. I want to see more of what she's about and what makes Lauren special, outside of the fact that she can control the air and all that kind of stuff the way that she does. So I don't know why they were having discussions when they were all up in that room. To me, it's like, if you're going to an area that's that highly secure, first and foremost, they probably have cameras. Let's be real. These days, everything's got a camera involved. It's just like, you don't have time to be like, should we be doing this? Do you want to destroy this? Is this the right thing? Not the time for that moral dilemma. You go in, you destroy what you need to destroy, GTFO. Like, it just, but I guess we wouldn't have had the dramatic ending that we did. But more importantly, we know why that whole moment happened. It was to finally expose Dr. Garber that she's just as much of a hater as her brother is. She's just doing it under the guise of altruism and telling, you know, saying that this is for the betterment of humanity, but it's the same message. It's the same message. We heard her say it. Like, she thinks that they're a curse. She thinks that power should never happen. And then calling the dude behind you that you know could literally kill you a curse to pretty much to his face. I mean, he was behind her, but you get my fat point. She has the nerve to do that and then look Lauren's parents in the face and be like, yeah, she never should have been born. Pardon? Yeah, no. She had to go. She had to go. But I said it, didn't I say if they try to leave, we're gonna see the real colors, and I was right. I called it. So, goodbye, Miss Garber. I mean, homie, he took off that thing and he just went to town. Like, he hasn't been using them vibrations in a minute. I think he's been dying to use them powers. You know what I'm saying? I gotta feel like most mutants, if they have an ability and they don't use them, I feel like it builds up almost. And we saw that, right? Her little graph that she showed Reed was like how, like, if you suppress it for so long, it basically does. And that's what I said. Like, I don't believe for a second that Reed's gonna die. I think that was all a lie. She was using that because she wanted to keep Reed there. And then, of course, when she found out about Andy, she's like, oh, can he come to the party? I mean, this is the one time I'm actually happy Andy was not with them. But digressing. I said it last week. I don't believe that Reed's gonna die. I think it's what she showed in that picture was accurate, but I don't think it's gonna kill Reed. I don't think his DNA is going to explode. I think it's just like, he had that dam built up for 20 some years. So yeah, his powers are gonna discharge a little bit. They've been suppressed for so long. That protein, if that part was real, which I believe that part was probably real, it's been building up in his system for 30 years. So yeah, it's gonna discharge and he's gonna have, you know, like a kind of an overflow, if you will, of his energy, of his mutation. But I have no doubts that given, like, if he'd been left maybe another 2 days, 2-3 days, he probably would have been fine. It's like he just needs to get it all out of his system, like almost like a detox of excess power. I think that's all it was. I think Reed's gonna be just fine. The X gene is not killing him. I don't think it ever was. Like I said, I think it was just a matter of this suppressant he was given just messed with some things in his system. Right now, since they are afraid of because Reed's power is so destructive, I get that they can't just have him wandering around letting that excess power discharge, but I have a feeling that we're gonna see something crazy happen. Like the way that I think the fact that they showed us the pretty boy there letting loose and basically taking out, and I'm thinking it's probably that entire lab. I think it's to show that Reed, I think when it comes down to it, I would not be surprised if in the finale we see Reed have a similar reaction where he basically goes just about nuclear. I don't know what's gonna cause it or why he's gonna need to do it. But I have a feeling that this is the reason we've been leading up to all of this all season. I feel like we're gonna see Reed actually come into like his Super Saiyan mode, and it's gonna be insane. Maybe if he gets to a point where it's like at Omega level, he could probably like level an entire city block. That'd be so cool. That's some serious predictions into the future so far, but that whole storyline's kind of wrapped up now. I mean, they're taking down that lab. They've taken down some of the research. I feel like it's not going away, however, just because they destroyed those samples. And oh my God, that was so gross when she was on the ground and all the samples. God, who knows what was in that lab cabinet. Ugh, she'll want to die if she didn't. I can't think all that research is going to be 100% gone. She's got a lot of data. A lot of that stuff's on computers and hard drives and probably the cloud. So I don't think it's gone entirely, but at least the endless supply of the von Strucker DNA is not at least at her disposal anymore. But I have to also think about the implications. I think the other reason they showed what went down in that lab is that if she doesn't survive, if this kills her, that's going to get back to her brother. And that's going to be, again, another lit match on the fire of the Purifiers if the Purifiers founder's sister is killed by mutants. Especially since they're going to spin that narrative, oh, she was trying to help those poor mutants and look what happened. They killed her. They killed her. They did. A little bit of that whole mutant striking back. That was kind of the whole theme of this episode. It said game changer. It really should have been called Payback. They should have been playing James Brown, the Payback, in the background of this episode. All right, on to the underground. What a mess that was. John is my baby, you know, in the sense of he's like the hottest guy on the show, and he's just beautiful.
And his arms are a thing of art, and his hair is literally spun from angels' hands.
It hurt me so much that I really didn't like him in this episode. This is the first episode I've genuinely disliked John. And it's not going to be permanent, but just the way he was acting, he was just really belligerent. And I understand him being upset. I understand his frustration, but this is the first time he was really kind of a jerk. Like truly just a jerk. And I know a lot of this is probably just a result of him feeling like he's being pushed into a corner. The underground is not going well. All of his efforts that he's tried to do to peel back the results of the inner circle, they've failed so miserably, but that's also because he's not planning any of this. He's just kind of going in headlong. But digressing, he's just feeling it. He's to the point where he was desperate. And I know that the jerky attitude was a direct result of that desperation, but didn't make it any less easier to take. It was just really frustrating. And, you know, everyone was out there under their rope. Marcos was getting a little fed up with him. Clarice was getting fed up with him. I didn't really appreciate, y'all been watching me since last season. You know how I feel about manipulation. That is like something that bothers me. I do not like people messing with your head. I don't like manipulation. That is a huge trigger for me. And I just really hated that he manipulated Marcos and used his fresh tragedy over his daughter, you know, basically being out of his life for the foreseeable future to, you know, to push him into helping him with this cockamamie plan, which blew up in their faces anyway. And so I had to be with Clarice and just being like, dude, you're killing me right now. Do you not realize that what we just did by kidnapping someone? I understand your desperation. I mean, in a way, things really can't get much worse for mutants at the moment, let's be real, but I understand that she was pointing out that, yeah, John, you have to realize we should be looking at our actions and realizing that we could be making things worse. Not surprising that it ended with John being captured, but I almost feel like he almost wants this. Like, I think John just, like I said, he just does not know what to do with himself. He doesn't have a mission and he has no clue how to handle himself or what to do with himself. It's almost like he's doing the pills and the cage fighting again. The difference is now he's just letting the world beat him up instead of just going to a cage for money, if that makes sense. I'm not super worried about John being captured at the moment. I do think it's going to put him through some things though. I mean, Jace, I don't think is going to be down for much, but the Purifiers themselves cannot be trusted. They have a mutant in their hands. They have a mutant who Jace is probably going to volunteer, was the head of the Atlanta Underground, a mutant that they know can take a lot of punishment. So I have no doubt that John's probably going to get tortured. I'd be shocked if they didn't torture him. Jace may not know about it, but I mean, he may turn a blind eye if he thinks that it's the only way to get John to give up the location of more mutants. We all know that there is Blink. She was, God knows where she was actually this episode, but something tells me this might be the thing that maybe gets the Morlocks involved. She's gonna probably, I think that might be where she's at right now, maybe trying to help mutants who are hiding from the cops to maybe go underground and hide. But when she hears that John's captured, she's gonna want to get him out. If she can get the Morlocks to help her, that's a good group of mutants to get in there and get the job done. But there's also the side mission, the side issue that the Purifiers are gonna have to deal with, is the fact that, you know, the last part of what happened in the episode, which was the whole, you know, culmination of Riva's plan there, or at least part of it, maybe. And that was Regimen, which I thought, for some reason, Regimen I thought was a drug, but it turns out it's the company that controls the collars. Riva wanted to figure out where the centralized headquarters, like, how stupid is that, though? In this day and age of electronics, seriously, they put all of the control of those collars across the states in one building? That was on y'all, Regimen. Like, that was stupid. Like, I mean, not even banks centralize all their data these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have that stuff all over. There should have been backup and redundant servers like in 5-6 different countries, yo, in the cloud. And all the collars are down, y'all, in all the prisons. That is not good, because much like Crazy Becky, there are gonna be some mutants in there that are not good people. Mutants who are murderers, thieves, God knows what else, who are now gonna be back out there. And what's worse is they've been tortured by these collars, so they are even more hostile than they were going in. And there's no guarantee that some of the mutants that are in those situations aren't gonna go around and hurt more mutants. Let's come back a little bit more to some of the stuff that happened in the Inner Circle with Crazy Becky and her reckoning. Okay, listen, I'm sorry. I shouldn't lie. I am gonna laugh because I don't care. I didn't really like Crazy Becky's character to begin with, but I mean, she was acted very well. For the record, the actress did a fantastic job. I love that Crazy Becky's reckoning came at the hands of her boy toy. That was such brilliant writing. I didn't see it coming, and I'm so happy with it. I really, really am. Yeah, we had the box. So what's interesting about that, I realized after watching the episode, is that Riva could not have put that box together like in a minute. You feel me? Like, that's not something she can construct in a minute. She had that ready. She knew what Rebecca's powers were, and she already built a countermeasure. I mean, I've been ranting at Riva and saying that maybe she didn't do her homework, but maybe she did. Like, maybe, I don't think she actually thought that Rebecca was going to kill the people in the bank. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she even remotely foresaw that she would go that far. But I think she might have known that Rebecca actually was crazy and decided to take that gamble anyway and thought, okay, as a failsafe, if she feels like she's getting out of control, which let's be real, I feel like the Cuckoo should have picked up on that, but I digress. They had this box ready just in case. And very interesting, this box that actually did counteract her powers. I gotta think Sage was probably the one who figured out how to do that, because I would never know how to stop her from being able to use them. Like, how did they figure that out, especially since Rebecca didn't have a collar in the institution? But anyway, they figured out that she has to be able to see light and she has to be in one place. So she has to be stationary and be able to see what's around her, and that makes sense. But because she was in this box, it kept her in complete darkness and in constant motion. So she wasn't able to ever get herself oriented enough to use her abilities and turn the box inside out. So that was really cool, actually. I think that was super duper cool. She obviously didn't like that, as you can understand, and Andy was all in his feelings. Becky, do you love me? Are you writing? Cause you never ever. So he just was like, oh, you know, still maintaining the whole, oh, she didn't mean it. It was a mistake. She was scared. She didn't. What? A mistake is if she'd accidentally twisted someone's face sideways. You know, if someone actually grabbed her and she responded by like turning them inside out. She killed a room full of people, Andrew. He goes and has this conversation with Lorna that makes no sense to me. He's just kind of like, well, just no sense on Lorna's part, I should say. But anyways, he sits there and he's like, oh, well, boo-hoo. And Lorna basically responds with like, well, you know, we're doing this. I get in the sense, I guess, that Lorna feels like I've started this, we gotta finish it anyway, because I did make this mess. But it just kind of felt like in that moment, Andy was looking for a little bit of reassurance that there is some points in the Inner Circle that are too far. And Lorna even knows that, but it just seems very interesting to me that she's not sharing her fears with Andrew. I just find that interesting that she doesn't seem to trust Andy enough to share those concerns with him. And I don't know if it's because she feels like he can't handle them, but anyway. And in his infinite stupidity, he decides he should try to break her out. First and foremost, where the hell was all the security? Like, really? I know that they don't have like a massive staff there, but you're telling me that they're all up having a big old meeting about the heist or whatever, and nobody watches the box? I have a feeling that it wasn't an accident. This is my theory. I think Riva knew. I think she knew that Andrew was gonna try to break her out. I think she realized when he was being his sulky little self and trying to excuse all her behavior. Oh my God, she totally did. I just remember that line she said, Rebecca still has her part to play. Yes, I'm telling you, Riva knew. She knew that Andy was gonna do this. She knew it, and she confirmed it at the end where she's like, Andrew needed to make a firm decision about whether he was with us or he was with her, and now he made it. I mean, I don't think he thought she was gonna, I don't think she thought Andrew was gonna kill her. I think that was a little bit like, oh damn, I didn't think you were gonna do that. But I think Riva knew that Andy was gonna break her out of the box, try to leave with her, and based on the way that this crazy little girl is, I think she knew there's no way crazy Becky's just gonna leave and run off into the sunset. She's gonna come for me. We'll see. Andrew's gonna have to make a decision in that moment of whether or not she's gonna let her try to kill us, or is he gonna protect us? Because I don't believe for a second, like, Riva's prepared for this chick now, you know what I'm saying? So I have no doubt that Riva would have screamed that girl's head off if she needed to. But she waited. She looked up and she looked at Andy. And Andy did what she expected Andy to do. Again, that wall was just an unlucky place for her head to be. But he ended up taking care of that problem for Riva. Because I don't believe for a second Riva did not want that chick dead. Crazy Becky's role to play was to make Andy cement himself further to the inner circle and the cause. Mission accomplished, and better yet, no more of that psychopath. I didn't feel sorry for Andy, I'm sorry. His tears about the whole incident didn't move me. If he had actually listened, I mean, I'm not to say that that she wouldn't have ended up dead anyways, Riva might have killed her anyways, but he wouldn't maybe have been the one who had to get his hands bloody if he just listened. But again, I mentioned in there that he is, between Riva and Lorna, they manipulated the crap of that dumb little boy. He is so lost without his sister. Like, I'm starting to see how much Lauren steered that kid clear of so much. Andy just does not have a mind of his own in the least. It's really sad. But I'm hoping at some point in this season, he figures out what he stands for himself and doesn't keep letting people manipulate his emotions to get him to do things. Like, it's just so annoying to watch him not ever have like a stance that has to do with himself and how he feels, but more playing off the anger or pain he's feeling at any given time. He literally is just a tool. But anyways, he was used. He did what he had to do. Inner Circle got what they needed, and the mutants are out. They're out, and now that the humans are extra touchy, they're gonna be messing with these kids, and it's gonna turn into an all-out war. I'm really, really curious to see what's gonna happen in the back half of the season. I don't know if we have another episode left before they go on break, but it's gonna get nuts. There's a bunch of mutants, hundreds of mutants that were criminals. Not all of them, obviously, but we got some mutants out there who got a lot of rage and a lot of repressed anger to let out, and we've got humans that are on edge. It's about to get ugly. What's gonna push people to the edge? Where new lines are gonna be drawn all over again? I don't know, a lot's going on. The ending really got me hyped to see how this is all gonna play out now. Good episode. It really was a good episode in the sense of, like I said, the plot movement was really, really good, and I liked seeing the fruition of all of these plans that we've seen since the season's premiere. What did you guys think of this episode? I know I kind of chatted a lot about it, but there was kind of a lot of stuff to unpack. How do you feel about John and how he's been acting? And also, how do you think we're gonna go forward from here now that the mutants are no longer under fear of the collars? Please leave your responses below. I love getting this conversation, you guys. You're so helpful with knowledge from the comics that I'm not sure of and all that good stuff. Please keep them coming. And if you like this video, guys, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.